Okay, well, here we are. This is so cool. I just count, I think we've got 4 continents represented at the moment, which is pretty incredible, isn't it? Considering there's only like 10 people here, we've got 4 continents, which is wonderful. So amazing. So good to see you all for February. Half over. And it's Valentine's Day. So I think we should happy Valentine's Day, everyone. What are you doing here?
Yes.
You'll be out doing lovey-dovey stuff. Or maybe this is it. Is this it?
What was that little sign?
What's that?
What was the little sign?
Love.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, there you go.
It's a little heart.
Oh, is that what that is? So happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And I'm very grateful that you chose to spend and for a lot of people, it's evening here in Melbourne. In Victoria, it's evening. Everywhere else, it's either morning, midday, or what time is it in South Africa at the moment, Jean? Is it about lunchtime?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, so late morning. In the UK, it's 9 a.m, I believe. So
9 a.m.
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good. Okay. So let's do this because we've got a few people that probably haven't met each other. So I think and Lena, it's her first time here. So I want to just so she feels comfortable and we all get to know each other. Let's do a very quick intro of each other, of ourselves. Just 30 seconds, a minute, keep it shortish. I know some of you just love sharing, but we're just got to keep it short. Just so we know who's here. So what I want to know is who you are, where you're from, and what stage of the journey are you at in terms of your writing, and why you're here. Okay. So anyone want to volunteer to start?
I'll jump in.
Okay. Sue's going to start.
I'm Sue Wong. My husband has Asian ancestry, which I love. I'm very proud of. I'm co-authoring with Justin, who's here tonight too, Justin Robinson. We're co-authoring a book. We're in Geelong, Australia. It is a well-being book. We aim to have it self-contained so our reader can create their own personal life manifesto. We have a business together, which we have been doing now for about 15 months, Justin, would that be right? Yeah. And we developed a coaching style approach to eliciting people's life statements and putting what their content in writing in a way we hope would elevate and uplift and assist them to live what we're calling their authentic lives. We've had a lot of great response by doing that online and with a coach. Now we've decided, can we package that in a way, in a book where the person can do it for themselves, but with our guidance, 7 steps, we've put together a process with our guidance and examples. And of course, they can hook up with us too, if they'd like additional support along the way. We're only a month or so in, Justin. We've written a third of the first draft. We're loving working with Andrew and having the joy of seeing this on the page. So that's me. Thank you.
Good. Beautiful, Sue. Thank you and welcome. Come on, someone, come on, just dive in. It's Lena. Hello, Lena.
Hello, I'm Lena. I live in Ubud, Bali.
Tell people what you do. Tell people what you do, Lena. They're going to be very jealous.
I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and also I'm selling gelato. I do all on my own. And then this is my first book that I'm writing. It's because of the, I met so many people in the gelato. They want me to sell because they always share their lives. So, and I told them how, I just want to tell them I share from my experience in life. So they asked me that, why don't you share? Because they want a lot of people more wanting to share, to hear. So I was thinking that, oh, why not? So yeah, here I am now. I'm just beginners in writing. Then I met Andrew when he came for gelato with Laura, and
Good
then
gelato.
I talked, and then I start writing, and this is like a good. I'm excited, and
Yeah.
yeah, I want to start writing from. I think from 25 years ago when I was drowned on the beach. That's why I become an artist. Till now, I'm up and down in life. Here I am now. That's what I would
Awesome.
share.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, good. Well done, Lena. And yeah, Lena's just at the very, very, very beginning. So it's going to be a fun journey for her. So thanks for sharing. Who wants to go next? Oh, can we come in? Do you want me to, John, you go. Okay, Jean. I'm going to have to nominate here because we're sitting here all night waiting for you guys. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Jean. I am from sunny South Africa. I am divorced with 2 children, and my journey has been a beautiful, colorful, adventurous one. And yeah, I'm decided to do a book on that with a bit of a twist. I've had great progress this last week. Andrew, you'll be proud. In 2 hours, I wrote 800 words onto paper and felt
Good
amazing
on you.
afterwards. So yeah. So I'm getting there.
Awesome. Well done. Welcome. John, let's hear from you, mate. Let's hear from John.
Yes, I'm John Marr from Ballarat in Victoria, Australia, and I'm a keynote speaker on road safety, which I started 25 years ago, which was 2 years after we lost our youngest daughter, Carmen, when she fell asleep at the wheel and she hit a tree and was killed instantly. So I then started on my personal journey of trying to bring road safety to all young people that I could possibly go and speak to in schools. And that's my main focus, although I do corporate as well. Excuse me. But 20 years ago, I started writing my book because I realised I was getting older and eventually someone wasn't going to be able to bring such an important road safety message to the students. And when I wasn't here, so I started writing the book, and I kept running into roadblock after roadblock. Mainly, they were all in my head. And I met Andrew, who kept giving me the push along and giving me the encouragement at different times when I really needed it. And I must say I did most of it myself. Well, I did all of it myself, I guess. But the greatest thing about my book is that my 3 daughters, Michelle, Katrina and Jasmine, who are Carmen's sisters, have all contributed with a chapter each, and they are magnificent chapters. Michelle's chapter, I cried all the way through it, and I learned so many things about what Michelle went through that she had kept to herself. Didn't realise that she was so close to committing suicide. But Michelle was the 3rd car on the scene when she was on her way to work, on the third car on the scene of Carmen's crash. So it's a really powerful book. I have big plans for the book. It's going really well. It was launched in February last year. It is selling really well, which is wonderful. And to be perfectly honest, I had so many self-doubts about whether I was an author. I failed English every year that I was at school and failed it magnificently. But I now have a book. I can call myself an author, and I'm really proud of what I've been able to achieve, because I'm 72 years old, and one day I won't be here, but Carmen's legacy will live on.
It will indeed, mate. Good on you, John. Inspiring stuff for you. Every time you speak, you inspire. I think I shed a few more tears just then too, but well done. And what John, he's very humble, and what he hasn't said that he's spoken to hundreds of thousands of people over the last 25 plus years about road safety, and who would know how many lives he's saved, and not just in the past, but in the present and the future. So he's doing amazing stuff. So good on you, mate.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone want to volunteer next, or am I going to? All right, Kat, over to you. Let's zip over to Perth. I love to zip over to Perth.
Yeah. My name's Kat. I'm based in Perth currently. Accent might lead you to believe that I'm based elsewhere. I'm not. I'm officially and only Australian. American citizenship is no more, just in case you were wondering. Where I am in writing, I have officially finished the first draft a while ago, finished the first draft of project number 1, which is a collection of physics activities to teach basically anyone physics. So effectively, it's a book of activities where you create art as the so-called byproduct of physics. So each activity uses physics to make some sort of art, and then includes a deeper dive into the science behind the scenes so that you can understand the physics at play. So that has been done in collaboration with a former colleague of mine who's an engineer. So he and I contrived all the activities, tested them, developed them, and then I've written it. It's currently in the hands of a physics teacher who's doing a review of it for basically sanity check of the physics itself. And the activities that are done with her are in the hands of my partner, being getting the photos that we need for the activity setups, etc. done. And then that'll come back through me for editing, and then on to the great publisher Find. So that's project number 1. And then in the meantime, I am working on project number 2, which is a for fun project. It's basically a collection of short fictional stories that are being wrapped around a core narrative that pulls on some true threads from my life living in Japan, which was a big part of, that's where I lived all of my 20s. So that's a for fun project. We'll see what comes of it, but yeah, that's where my projects are at.
Awesome. Good on you, Kat. Thank you for sharing.
Very good. Well done.
Steve, let's go to Stephen over in the UK. Hello, mate.
Hi, I'm Stephen from the UK in England, so nice and cold over here at the minute. But yeah, I'm just starting this project with Andrew. I'm a Paralympic athlete. I've been competing in Paralympic sport since I was very young, so about over 25, nearly 30 years. I've been competing now, been to 6 games. So yeah, I've already wrote one book quite a long time ago. I wrote a book, like a autobiography style book. So yeah, now the idea is to write like kind of a more self-help book to help people to develop a positive way of thinking, a positive mindset. So it's kind of, yeah, in the last few years, I've been doing a lot of speaking on mindset, on how to approach life. So trying to put these ideas into a book, and Andrew's helping me to do that. So yeah, really good to be here.
Yeah,
Very
good on you, mate. That's
Well
awesome.
done.
6 Paralympic Games, which is absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
Wow. Wow. And he's still going strong. Now he's going to write books and inspire the world. So good on you, Stephen. So good to have you here. Okay, let's go to Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Andrew and everybody. I'm in Melbourne. I'm a psychologist in private practice. I've been self-employed for, God, over 30 years. And I have a background in other things as well. So I started writing a book, I think that was the first one, about 10 or 12 years ago. It's a well-being related book. And I got put off one day when I was in Borders, when Borders was still around, because there were over 200 books in the self-help section. And I just thought, oh, do we really need another one? So I got discouraged for a while before reconnecting with Andrew. So I've actually known Andrew for even longer, about, I think we're heading to almost 30 years. And anyway, I'm very good at starting projects and I'm not as good at finishing them. So there's that one. Then there's a cookbook I started writing when my son was in his early teens, because he didn't want to learn how to cook. And I thought, oh, I think I'll just write the book and he can pick it up later when he decides he wants to start to learn how to cook. So it's grown, all the writing is done, but there's no pictures. So it's sort of got halted at that point. I've also got a psych personality online test thing that's pretty much almost ready to go. But once more, it's got a couple of hurdles that I haven't gone past. And that's number 3. And then the current one that's actually getting more energy is with a colleague. I'm writing what we hope is a new approach to a weight loss program. So we're going to practice on each other first, and we've got some existing clients who are interested. And then we want to take over Australia and then the world after that. So
Good. Well, you better finish it then.
yeah, better finish a few things. So
Yeah, no, good on you, Joe. Well, you're here still, and that's the main thing. You know, you keep showing up, so that's the key, isn't it? Well, but thank you and well done. Okay, Justin.
Thanks, Andrew. Just echoing, I'm a partner with Sue in writing this book. It's a really fun journey. Sue was coached me personally. I'm a passionate teacher and a teacher of wellbeing, originally a teacher of mathematics, but then and phys ed. Went to the same uni as Andrew back where we both did our PE teaching degree, but didn't know one another. And but have been heavily involved in positive psychology and positive education at Geelong Grammar School, where Sue and I have worked for many years. But now we're on to our new venture, and so writing our book, where our working title is A Gift to Yourself, and a 7-step process to co-creating your personal manifesto. So we're enjoying the process and enjoying Andrew's mentoring, and it's lovely to meet you all.
Good on you, mate. Thanks, Justin. That's a great title too, by the way. So are you there? Can you hear? Can you talk? I can see you're sort of all over the place at the moment.
There's another Sue here, I think.
Yeah, this is Sue in the UK. Yeah, there she is. Hi, Sue.
UK, I can talk, can't see you. But I will be stopping. I can talk and get on screen as well in a few minutes, about 5 minutes. If there's anyone else that wants to talk first.
Okay, well yeah, we'll come. So we'll come back. We'll come back now. We've got 2 Chris's. We'll go to Chris McLeod first, and then we'll pop back over the UK for Chris Freer. Chris McLeod, hello.
G'day, it's Chris here. Look, I've been with this program for some time now. I'm on my 3rd draft of my book, and it's about the First World War. Nothing new really. It's a battle that lots of people know about. It was the launch of the mechanised warfare that we know today. You never see a news article without seeing tanks, but back in the day they were a brand new thing, and this battle was conducted by the British because they were the only ones who had tanks at the time. And what's little known is that there were Australian units in that battle that have been left on the cutting room floor of history. So I'm just rewriting the story to include the Aussie participation. But in the process, I've found Indians, I've found South Africans, I've found Newfoundlanders, and that's at a time when Newfoundland wasn't part of Canada. It was separate, like Hong Kong, or like Hong Kong used to be, like New Zealand. It was a separate country. So yeah, lots of faces on the cutting room floor, and I just want to retell the story to include, in particular, the Australians.
Good on you, mate. You're picking them up off the floor. I love it. We Aussies, we're at the bum end of the earth, and we're on the cutting room floor. So thanks for picking us up.
Can I just say something, Chris? That's really interesting. My mum turns 85 next month, and I was visiting her on the weekend, and she told me a story about one of her uncles, that apparently he invented the air conditioning that they used inside tanks. So apparently there was a big kickback of heat and what have you when they used to fire them. So I had no idea he'd had that sort of involvement in something so large as tanks.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes.
There you go. There's another chapter for your book, mate. It's getting longer and longer. Anyway, that's great. Thanks, Chris, and welcome, and good on you for what you're doing. Chris UK. Hello. Good to see you, mate.
Hello, and I am absolutely mortified of being late. I'm so sorry. Sounds like I missed a lot of really great stuff. You know, talking about people, talking about well-being, which is my absolute favourite, most precious and interesting interest, I would say. Yeah, I'm even a little bit not even speaking well today. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Chris, just tell us where you're at with your book, and I mean a little bit. Just quickly tell us your background, because I mean you're you know, you've got a message.
Yeah. Okay. So I've completed my first draft, and I'm now
Good on you.
sitting rewriting the first chapter. Really, I want to say a massive thank you to Andrew, really, because he's opened up in me this ability that I never ever thought I had. I've started to publish some articles on LinkedIn and things like that. Never ever thought I would write anything. I think I've written more now at the age of 63 I am now than I've probably written in my entire life, because I believed that I was thick, really. I believed, because that's what I was told in my school days. My story is about going from wheelchair to walking, living with multiple sclerosis. And for the first, let's say, half of the journey, it progressed extremely rapidly, which found me in a wheelchair by 2012. On that journey, I had a serious attempt at ending my life in 2007. And that kind of opened the door in my mind to new possibilities, really. The first thing I discovered was why I'd never, ever given myself any love or credibility. But I was always a rescuer for other people, if you like. And that set me on a journey of dealing with my trauma, dealing with the things that I'd done in my life to create multiple sclerosis, because you can't catch it, so there is an element of creation for self, and that's through the choices that we make. And I suppose now I'm extremely passionate about the journey I am on of creating best health for other people. So that's where I am at, guys. Okay.
That's awesome, Chris.
Very
Good
good.
on you, mate. And we'll come back to you in a sec, mate, because the article you just posted on LinkedIn, I think, is going to be very critical and a good probably topic of conversation. So welcome, mate. Good to have you here. Sue, are you okay now, or we'll get started and you can just chime in when you're on screen. So what would you rather do?
Hang on, yeah. I'm here.
There she is.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. That's a good turnout. I'm Sue. So my background's medical. I've been a doctor for over 35 years. And in the last 10 years, I've developed as a coach. My passion is all about making it real, I guess, the well-being, the advice, the things that we know already in our lives, which is always a challenge. This is particularly, I think, when you know a lot as well. So my book, I've got so far with it. I'm here for inspiration, to be honest. Sounds like I'll get it.
You're in the right place.
And it's all about harnessing life changes to navigate yourself to the best version of yourself. It's both experiential, it's what I've heard, seen, experienced in my professional and personal life, brought together in a book. And that's kind of a big sketch, I suppose, quick sketch to make it easier. It's the kind of thing, I suppose most of us are trying to write something to make it easier for people, something that you would have liked to have read possibly at some stage. Yeah. So that's it, the frame up, and it's brilliant to see everyone here. I am here for inspiration and energy and everything that it always gives me. So
well, thanks and welcome. I think we're all here for the same reason. I think one of the powerful things about community, I might just get you, if you're not speaking, just to mute, because there's a little bit of background noise. So if you don't mind just muting yourself, and then when you want to speak, you can unmute yourself, just so we can. But the power, there's so much power, isn't there, in just community? Like even the introductions. I mean, we've been going for 30 minutes, but I mean, how many of you have got something already out of those, just people just introducing themselves and talking about their journey, and even just that, just to hear that we are all on the same journey. We've all got, how many of people have said they doubted themselves, they didn't think they could do it. Chris thought he was dumb, and John didn't think he could write, and Joe doesn't know whether there's room for another well-being book, and doesn't, all these things that we have, we're all in common. That's humans. That's what we all have: doubts, fears, insecurities. And Stephen, mate, you are such an inspiration to everyone. I mean, you're just such a beautiful example of, well, I think we all are, but there's no limits here. The only limit is what we think. The only limit is what we believe about ourselves. That's it. And what we say. And I just want to throw back to Chris in the UK, because just before he just posted an article on LinkedIn, which I think is the key to this whole journey. Chris, do you want to just give us just a quick précis version of that article and what your key message was?
Okay, it all came out of a news article in the UK about a footballer, quite a high-level footballer in the UK, and he got caught on video singing the words to a song that uses a racist word. Yeah, and we all know what that word is, and it sort of set up this huge stink that was going on in the UK. Well, and I thought about it, and one of the words that, I'm not going to say it upsets me, because it doesn't, but one of the words that I'm passionate about changing within the media is the word suffering. Okay, because, and I don't know what it's like in your part of the world, but whenever there's a news article about multiple sclerosis or chronic illness in general, it's always prefixed with people suffering with. Yeah. Now, I can tell you, I do not suffer with this condition. In fact, I'm going to tell you, it probably, and it's not always been like this, but it's probably been one of the most motivational factors in my life that's ever happened to me, because I'm probably healthier now than I ever have been with a chronic health condition. Okay. And I just want to try and change that word suffering, because if you're newly diagnosed with something, it tells you that if you've got that condition, you're going to suffer with it, and it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. It really doesn't. We have choice, and we can choose a different journey.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm passionate about.
Can I just say, language is really interesting. It's really interesting to hear you say that, Chris. I work with quite a few people who've been abused in the past at some stage in some way. And a similar thing happens with the word victim. You're a victim of abuse. And so I prefer to get them to use different words like, they're actually a survivor of abuse as opposed to a victim of abuse.
Yeah. Well, and I think the whole idea of me asking Chris to share that is because the words it's about words, right? It really is about language. Everything you have in your life right now and everything you will have in your life and continue to create in your life is based on the words that you use. I mean, you look at the word, I mean, when you listen, the word suffering is effectively a victim mindset, right, Chris? I mean, because I'm suffering, I need attention. Like, and that I wrote a blog I posted and just coincidentally about accidents. You know, that we use the word accident. I was in a car accident. Well, and John says this too. There's no car accidents because someone wasn't focused. It was a predictable outcome because the driver wasn't. So it wasn't an accident. I mean, John, you talk about that all the time, don't you? So again, the word accident is a cop out. You know, so you got to be. I think, you know, words that come out of your mouth be real. I think, and I want to spend some time and let people maybe share some words that they know or they've used that have held them back, and what maybe they're and if they've got some words that they're using about themselves, like Joe, you know, sorry to point you out, but I don't finish. I'm not good at finishing. You know, well, if you keep saying that to yourself, guess what's going to happen? You know, you're never going to finish anything because that becomes your identity. Those words that you use. If I suffer from, I'm a victim. You know, it's going to continue. So I think, you know, every issue we have in life, you know, there are physical circumstances we deal with. There are things that happen that we are out of our control, but what is always in our control are the words we use as a response to that. And that's what's going to determine how life turns out. So I wanted to open this up for conversation because I think it's really key. So John, I can see you want to say something. So if you want to, do you want to add to this? I'd love to. I think this is going to be a really powerful little chat for the next 15 and 20 minutes. So John, share your thoughts around this.
Yeah, just two things. The first, you mentioned it about car accidents, and I addressed that in my book. And I say they are not car accidents, they're car crashes. It's as simple as that. No student will ever hear me give my presentation and say that someone was in a car accident. They are car crashes. Everything is avoidable. When we lost Carmen, she fell asleep at the wheel, and no one can drive their car while they're asleep. So Carmen had a car crash. It was no accident. And sadly, we lost our daughter through that. But the other thing that I want to say too is that the world has changed so dramatically. You and I were footballers, Andrew. I don't know if you remember Eric Clark, who played for St Kilda. Now, Eric played his first game on the Northern Oval here, and I was playing for Ballarat. He came in from Creswick and played there, and it was his first senior game. So we were playing North Ballarat. Two of our players cut out a cardboard boomerang out of a Wheaties packet. And all of the opposition players, which was us, the Ballarat players, we all signed it. Eric was just a marvellous fellow, still a great friend of mine. We all signed it, told the North Ballarat players what we were doing. We lined up in front of this big crowd at Ballarat football is fairly big. And there was this big crowd. We lined up. Eric came out last, and at the end, he ran out between the row of players and was presented with this cardboard cut-out boomerang, roared laughing, shook everybody's hand, waved it to the crowd like this, and the crowd cheered for him. Now, that was then. That was when you could do things like that. We had people, we were calling Italians Dagos. Nobody thought anything bad about any of this because we weren't speaking badly about anyone. And we had a family of 13, and they were all called Dutchies. Now they are still, most of them still in Bungaree, just outside of Ballarat. Incredible people within the community of Bungaree, and always have been. Now, because we called them Dutchies, didn't mean to say that they approached us and said, you're calling us the wrong thing. They embraced it. We embraced it, and we all got on. But I think the world's gone mad, quite frankly, in so many areas where people have become so precious, and also there's that many that push the barrow. They keep pushing it to make everybody seem so precious. So to be perfectly honest, the way that everybody should treat themselves to each other today is the way we treated them back in 1960.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
But we
John.
can't.
No, I mean, the world's changed. There's no doubt about it. And we have to, honestly, we've got to be very careful with every word we speak to others, for sure. But even more importantly is the words we speak to ourselves. Yeah. I want to hear from some of you that have talked yourself to do something you never thought you maybe could do. Anyone has used their own, just said, well, why not? Why?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, except that I had quite a strong fear of heights when I was a bit younger, and I had friends who were quite keen rock climbers, and I decided I would go rock climbing to address my fear head on. And so yeah, I've been rock climbing back when I was younger and slimmer. I've been rock climbing quite a few times. Still was afraid of heights, but
so what did you say to yourself?
It was a bit like feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then at one stage, one of my friends said, you are still being really nervous, not trusting the ropes. He said, I'm actually going to put you on a rock that you are definitely going to fall off. And that was probably the turning point. So I was put on an overhanging rock that was sort of like this, and I'm trying to climb like this. And I fell off, and obviously the ropes saved me. So it was actually discovering that they work.
Didn't you say he was a friend?
yeah, he's still a friend. So
I mean, I think friends push you out of your comfort zone, don't they? I mean, because sometimes we hold ourselves back, and sometimes you need someone just to say, do you know what, you can do it. What else do you want to share about it? What's holding you back? What's stopping you? What are your challenges?
So I've got a quick word. About 4 years ago, the word enough kept me back and held me back. And it's taken me a long time to get over that word enough and to realize that I am.
So when you say enough, what context that you're not good enough? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
Yeah. Not good enough to write a novel, to create a new business, to do anything, basically, anything professional. And I've proven to myself over and over again that I can and I will.
So now you've got a different word. That's awesome. Good on you, Jane. And isn't that interesting? I think, is there anyone here that at some point in their life, and probably even now, still doubt whether they're good enough to be as successful as they would like to be? Is there anyone, like, because I know I'm putting my hand up still now, there's still doubt there, and it's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I think one of the things for me, and just because I think it's a great point, one of the things for me when I made the decision to write my first book, and that moment, like, you would not believe how many doubts and fears started just rushing to me. You're a footballer, you can't do it, you've never written before, you've got no time, no experience, no qualifications, Joe. How many well-being books are out there? Who's going to want to read yours? Blah, 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 blah. You can't do it. And then I stopped, right? And I think this is important. I stopped and I thought, okay, the odds are against me for sure, for sure. But is there, and because sometimes these words we use, there's no logic. There's no logic to back them up, right? Like, to say you can't do something is not logical, right? Because you've got to have proof. You've got to have, if you're in a court, and I said to myself, if I was in the court of law, could it be proved categorically that I cannot become a best-selling author? No one could prove that. I mean, they could throw evidence that it's probably unlikely, but no one could ever prove to me that I can't do it. Therefore, there must be a chance. And I started not with believing I could, just not knowing I couldn't. And there's a difference, do you understand the difference? And again, if I said, like Jean, you said to yourself, I'm not good enough, and that stopped you for so long, right? And that will always stop you. Nothing else will stop you except those words. And when you change those words, then you change your feeling. When you change your feeling, you change your actions. When you change your actions, you start creating new routines. When you change your routines, you'll get predictable. We always get predictable results based on the routines we've got. But that all starts with a belief. So, Joe.
I just wanted to add to that I actually believe we all create our own reality and we're each living our own reality. So I think the words that we use are really important because of how much impact they can have. And even though I might have said I'm really good at starting and not so good at finishing, I perhaps should have worded it as I'm getting better at finishing. And your words about touching it every day has helped. So it might not be every project gets touched every day, but certainly at least one, if not two, do get some attention every day. And I think that really helps. You just sort of keep chipping away until you get there.
Yeah. And can I just, sorry, John, we'll go to you in a sec, but Joe, you've just made a really good point. When you catch yourself saying something like, Joe said, okay, well, I've said I'm not good at finishing. When you hear that word come out of your mouth or you hear that word in your head, you've got to say, no, that's not me. I'm getting better. I'm improving. Change the word straight away. Change it because it will, the words you use will direct your path. 100%. John.
Yes, my mum and dad sent me to St Paul's Tech in Ballarat because they told me repeatedly, year after year after year, I wasn't smart enough. And my brothers all went to St Pat's Tech and they were smart enough. And it took me a long time. I was never ever critical of mum and dad in saying that because I also believed that I wasn't smart enough because I was told I wasn't smart enough. So mum and dad are always right. And it took me well into when I became very successful in business and had two of my brothers working for me, I realised that I actually probably was smart enough. The problem was that it was me. And I was more interested in my football and cricket. And I had no interest whatsoever in learning anything. But one thing has helped me since then, that has been with my book, and that is that I wasn't wanting to be a bestseller like you were, Andrew. I set my bar very low. All I wanted to do was finish my book. That's all I wanted to do, is do the book and get it out of my hair. It was an enormous relief when I finished my book. It wasn't something that I was incredibly proud of at the time. It was just a massive weight off my shoulders. And I could say, I've done it and it's finished. And when it comes through in the mail, I'll be able to look at it and pick it up. That was about my expectations of what I had written. Even after I'd written it and read it and had people read it and say how good it was, I still didn't believe that it was as good as what it was. And the proof has only been in the pudding since people have contacted me and told me amazing things about my book that I know it was what I said, but I took it for granted because it was just me.
Yeah.
And my book is me in writing it. Even the editors told me this isn't how people write books, but I know exactly who you are. And therefore it's a very personal book for everybody who reads it. So thankfully I set the bar really low because I was able to achieve it.
Good on you, mate. That's awesome. And look, again, there's power in just writing. Because I think the other thing when you start writing, and I know me, well, I'm not good enough writer to write a good book, but then I realized I've just got to be me. And I think for all of you, you just got to be you, because it's your story, your voice, your message, your whatever it is, it's you. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be J.K. Rowling or William Shakespeare or whoever, you read and go, wow, they're amazing. Just write, just inspire people, move them. That's what you got to do. Your job is to move people, not to impress them with your literary genius.
Andrew,
Justin.
As a passionate educator and also very passionate, John and others, about mindset, I think one of the nicest phrases for a teacher to keep in mind, and also a parent and also the student, is the phrase which simply goes, be prepared to be surprised. A beautiful saying, for the student, be prepared to be surprised. What next year. Maybe you weren't great at maths in year 7. Be prepared to be surprised in year 8. And as a teacher, maybe that student wasn't that great last year, but be prepared to be surprised. And as a parent, so that idea of certainly one's potential is unknown and unknowable. And Carol Dweck, the author of the book Mindset, concludes one of her research papers with, it's impossible to know what years of passion, toil, and strategy can produce. And so John had the passion, through what certainly was a tragic incident, but that gave him the passion. He's had the years of the toil when you hear about the number of students that he's spoken to. And then the strategy is what Sue and I are enjoying, which is part of the coaching from Andrew and part of the advice and the support. So, yeah, you can't sometimes, yes. So those 3 combinations of a passion, the toil and the labor and the show up and touch the book every day, and also some tips and strategies and advice for some people who have done it. So I'm very passionate about mindset and lovely to talk about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Yeah, Lena, you have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute. Lena, unmute yourself. There you
Okay.
go.
I'm shaking now. Okay.
Yeah.
I said I want to talk.
Yeah, of course.
Feel like
We want to hear.
this time I'm shaking, but I want to do it. I just want to talk. And then I tried to write a book about 2 years ago. And then that is about my experience. And then I stopped because it's too hard for me. Like when I back to the hard times, I cannot, stop crying. So, but this time is different. When I talk still in the same subject, after Andrew guidance me, that is always like a main message that I want to the reader get from my book, because here I am now. I want to share even the hard time in the past. I still like, thank you. Here I am because I learned from the past, and I want people who come to the gelato who share. I know they always share about they feel not good enough and broken heart and everything. I just want to empower them. It's okay. Here I am now. I know. I've been there. So that's what I want to share.
Awesome.
Even ladies gave me this bracelet, and she want me to promise, please share, Lena, writing a book or whatever, because you changed my life. So this difference.
Yeah.
Thank you to Andrew. You guided me. So I'm ready. I don't think about the bestseller or not, but this book inspired myself, and it's a legacy for myself, not for everybody. That's the most important. I'm enjoying. This is a wonderful thing because I like to learn new things, but this is like a powerful thing that I'm doing this.
That's awesome.
Thank
you. And what about does anyone doubt Lena's, going to write an amazing book? And I want you to just go back and just reflect on some of the language she just used and the words she used. Powerful and passionate, and I'm excited. They're the words that will move you. The words have the power to move us. I mean, wow, you get more than a gelato when you go to Lena's shop, that's for sure, right? You get gelato with a sprinkle of inspiration as well.
Sprinkle love. I
Love.
saw my shop find on the Google just because it's not about the gelato. Lots of gelato shop, but I create this atmosphere in the gelato shop, make them feeling like they said is feeling healing or whatever they feel. And then what is this the gelato adding? I think I'm adding love. So till 4 days ago, a woman came for the gelato and sit down. I always turn jazz music, in my shop, my tiny shop, And this is my tiny studio. I live with my 2 rescue dogs. And the woman came and then knocked while I'm writing here. And she came and gave me roses, red roses. And she said a couple of days ago, she said, this is for you. And thanks for create this atmosphere. And I hugged her and she hugged me and she cried. She really cried. And she didn't want to tell me what she's crying for. And then even I don't know her name, she just hugged and then left.
Wow.
That is moved me. So this is more, okay,
Beautiful.
I want to do it. Yeah, even yesterday I had an accident, like what John said, I have a motorbike accident yesterday because I wasn't focused. I had some problem and I wasn't focused. Then I fall down and I crashed with another motorbike. But then I learn again. I want to this book while I'm still breathing. I'm gonna write this book. I want to this happens.
Yay. Good on you, Lena. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I've got a new
Sorry,
title.
Andrew.
Book. It's not about the gelato.
No, sorry, Andrew. I don't mean to be taking this over or anything, but any of you who are going through writing this book, it took me 20 years, as Andrew knows, and don't be down on yourself about the times when you are down on the motivation to write. Just ring Andrew, because Andrew can get us going again. And I want to just repeat what Justin said. Be prepared to be surprised. Now, I would love to have had you as a teacher. I didn't have any good teachers. I couldn't find one anywhere when I was at school. However, I am so surprised to have a book. But Karen Guest, who is often on this podcast with you, Andrew, Karen Guest informed me last night that my book, which I sent all the details through and did a lot of backwork on, is now in audio format. It's now an audio book, which is absolutely brilliant. So I'll be receiving that tomorrow and I can have a listen to it and make sure there's nothing that needs to be changed. But how's that going from a person who had the bar set so low, and there's other exciting news that I think I may be able to tell you all within a month, which would be incredible. So stand by. I'm not going to open my mouth yet. I'm always opening my mouth. Always.
You're just being prepared to be surprised, hey?
Prepared. Yes, that's exactly right.
That's awesome, mate. Well, look, guys, this has been as amazing as always, and we're coming up to the wrapping up time. So for those people, well, for everyone that shared, thank you. For everyone that's, struggling, thank you, because you make it normal for all of us. It is life can be a challenge at times. We know that, but that's okay. We'll get through it. We're all good enough to get through it. We're all good enough to overcome. We're all good enough to fall down and get up again. Lena fell off her bike and here she is. And all sorts of stuff is going on with all of us. Every one of us has got stuff in our life right now, but you're here. And we're resilient. We're resilient beings. We've all got it within us. So just if you catch, I just want to really sow this seed when you catch a word coming out of your mouth that's reinforcing what you don't want, be very deliberate to stop it, grab it. So that's not me anymore. Maybe in the past, not anymore. Yeah. Whenever I'll never do this, or I'm so lazy, or what's wrong with me, or I'm such an idiot, or whatever those words are. And there's subtle things like Chris was saying about the word suffering, or the word accident, or there's words that impossible. There are words that they come out, you don't even think about them, but they're reinforcing. What they're doing is they're redirecting and making a path for you. Words, wow. I mean, we could spend hours and hours talking about this, but I think we've probably made the point. So your words on your book are going to inspire people, yeah? But before they do, the words you use for you have to inspire and move you in the right direction. So, so good to see you all. We'll be back again in 4 weeks. for this particular forum. So I look forward to seeing you all again then. And obviously I'll see a lot of you in between. But thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for sharing, and just thanks for being you guys. You're all amazing. I love you all, and hooray for you.